Hey there, ready to declutter our minds today?
Oh, yeah.
We're diving into Getting Things Done by David Allen.
A classic.
It's a productivity Bible for a reason.
Mm.
It's not just about checking off to-dos. It's
Okay.
about truly mastering your workflow.
It's a whole system.
And what's great is that we've got your notes and highlights to guide us.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, so it's like a personalized GTD cheat sheet just for you.
I love that.
I know.
Personalized.
It's amazing how relevant this book remains.
I know, right?
Even though it was published back in 2001.
Like way back.
The core concepts of capturing tasks and managing commitments,
Yeah.
they just seem even more crucial in our current world of digital overwhelm.
Oh, totally. It's like we're drowning in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of overwhelm, you highlighted a section about Alan's concept of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Stuff.
Basically anything that enters our world
Mm-hmm.
and needs some kind of resolution.
Right.
But it's just floating around undefined.
It's everywhere.
You even scribbled, oof, my inbox next to it.
Oh, yeah.
Did you relate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That feeling of, I should really deal with that,
Okay.
but not knowing where to even start.
Right.
It's a classic example of how undefined stuff just clutters our minds.
Totally.
Alan's point is that our
Yeah.
brains aren't meant to be giant to-do lists.
No, they're not.
They're for other things.
Okay, so how do we escape that mental clutter?
Right.
See, you marked up the 5-step workflow.
Yes.
What jumped out at you there?
The first step, capture,
Okay.
really resonated with me.
Uh-huh.
It's about getting everything out of your head
Mm-hmm.
and into a system you trust.
Okay.
Whether it's a physical inbox,
Right.
a digital app,
Mm-hmm.
or even voice notes.
So it's like creating an external brain
Yes.
to hold all those swirling thoughts and commitments.
Exactly.
Love
That
it.
way we're not relying on our already overloaded memory.
Right. Which is already full.
Yeah, and once we've captured everything, right,
The next step is to process it.
process it.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Ooh, I like that.
Deciding what each item is
Okay.
and what the very next action should be.
I think a lot of people get stuck there,
Oh, for sure.
myself included.
Yeah.
How do we make those decisions effectively?
Alan suggests asking 2 crucial questions.
Okay, let's hear them.
What is it?
Okay,
And what's the next action?
love it.
If it's actionable,
Hmm.
what's the one tangible step you need to take?
Right.
If not,
Uh,
can you trash it,
okay.
delegate it,
Yeah.
or file it for later?
Okay.
It's about transforming vague stuff
Yes.
into concrete steps.
Right, from that swirling vortex.
Exactly,
Yeah.
out of the ether.
Okay, so we've captured and processed
Yes.
what happens to all these newly defined actions.
All right.
You highlighted a lot about lists.
Lists are my friend.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Is that where Alan's famous organization system comes in?
absolutely.
He's all about next actions lists categorized by context,
Ooh.
like at calls or at errands.
So you can see it right there.
Yeah, that way you can easily see what to tackle
Right.
based on where you are
Wow.
and how much time you have.
I can see how that prevents that.
Right.
Oh, no, I forgot to call the plumber while I was out. Feeling
exactly.
clean,
That's the worst.
It is the worst.
Yeah.
But how do we ensure our system stays relevant?
That's where the fourth step comes in.
Okay.
Review.
I mean-
Alan recommends a weekly review
Okay.
to ensure everything's up to date
Right.
and nothing falls through the cracks.
Makes sense.
It's like a system tune-up
Okay.
to make sure everything is where it should be.
So we capture,
Yep.
process,
summarize.
organize,
I-
and review.
Review.
But there's a 5th step rating.
There it is.
What's that all about?
It's the most important one, do.
Do.
This is where all that prep work pays off. We make conscious choices about what to tackle
Uh-huh.
based on context,
Right.
energy,
Mhm.
and priority.
Okay.
It's about moving from planning to actually getting things done.
From your notes, it seems like you were really drawn to Alan's natural planning model
Oh, yeah,
for bigger projects.
the big ones.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
Alan argues that we instinctively plan all the time,
Oh.
but for larger projects, we need a more conscious framework.
Okay.
He breaks it down into 5 phases:
5 phases. Okay.
defining purpose,
Number 1,
visualizing outcomes,
2,
brainstorming,
3.
organizing,
I'm 4.
and identifying next actions.
5. Got it.
There you go.
So it's like having a roadmap to move from feeling stuck
Right.
to having a clear path forward.
Exactly.
I love it.
It starts with understanding the why behind the project.
The why, okay.
envisioning success,
Hmm.
generating ideas,
Okay.
organizing them, and then finally breaking those big goals down
Yeah.
into actionable steps.
Okay, we've covered the 5-step workflow
We did it.
and the planning model.
Got through it.
But I'm curious, you highlighted a section
Mm-hmm.
about horizontal and vertical control.
Ooh, yes.
Can you break that down for me?
Sure. Horizontal control is about maintaining a sense of coherence
Okay.
across all our commitments.
So it's like the big picture.
It's that constant capture and processing of stuff to make
Right.
sure nothing falls through the cracks.
Right, so we stay on top of everything.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Vertical control, on the other hand,
Okay.
is about digging deeper into specific projects
Okay.
and engaging in more focused planning,
Right.
what we just discussed.
So it's like having both a wide-angle lens
I love that.
to see everything on our plate
Yes.
and a zoom lens to focus on individual projects.
That's a great way to put it.
I try.
Allen argues that mastering both horizontal and vertical control
Mm-hmm.
is crucial for reclaiming mental energy
Right.
and feeling truly in control of our commitments.
This is all making so much sense.
Good.
But in your notes, I see a question mark
Oh,
next to Alan's suggestion of using a physical in-basket
okay.
with all the digital information we juggled today.
Right.
How does that translate?
That's a great question.
Thanks.
While the book predates our current digital deluge,
It really does.
it does.
Yeah.
Allen's principles can definitely be applied.
Okay, good.
It's about recognizing that emails, text messages,
Mhm.
and social media notifications
Oh, yes.
are just another form of stuff
Right.
that needs to be captured and processed.
So instead of a physical in-basket,
Yeah.
we might have a digital task manager
You could.
or email inbox.
Or that, yeah.
Right.
It's all stuff.
Right.
It's all the same.
And it sounds like the key is having a system you trust.
Yes.
So you're not constantly switching between apps and trying to remember where things are,
That's the worst.
right?
Yeah.
So it's about applying those core principles
Right.
to whatever tools we use,
Exactly.
whether they're digital or analog.
Doesn't matter.
This has been really helpful in connecting the dots
Good.
between the core GTD principles and our current reality.
It's a different world.
But I'm curious, you highlighted a quote from Alan.
Ooh, which one?
You can do anything, but not everything.
Oh, yeah.
What resonated with you there?
That quote really speaks to the heart of GTD.
Okay.
It's not about becoming a superhuman task-completing machine.
No, we're not robots.
We're not.
Okay.
It's about making conscious choices,
Right.
recognizing our limits,
Ah.
and focusing on what truly matters.
So it's about aligning our actions with our values and goals.
Exactly.
And not feeling like we have to do all the things all at once.
It's not a race.
It's not a race.
It's a marathon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about enjoying the process.
Yes, and being kind to ourselves along the way.
Right.
You know, one thing that struck me about your notes
Yeah.
was how many questions you had about Alan's waiting for list.
Oh, yeah, the waiting for list.
It seems like a simple concept,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's one of the most powerful tools in the GTD system.
I admit I had a lot of question marks there.
Yeah.
It seems so easy to just let things you're waiting on
Oh, yeah.
just slip through the cracks,
They do?
especially when other people are involved.
Right.
How does this list help with that?
It's all about maintaining a sense of control.
Okay.
Even when you're not the one driving the next action,
Right.
it's a designated space
Okay.
to track all those commitments where you're waiting on someone else, a client's feedback,
Uh-huh.
a contractor's bid,
Hmm.
anything where the ball is in someone else's court.
So instead of letting those things
Right.
fade into the back of my mind,
Yeah.
I'm actively tracking them
Yes,
and ensuring they stay on track.
exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And by reviewing this list regularly,
Okay.
you can spot potential bottlenecks or delays
Oh, that's good.
and take action.
Okay.
For example, if you're waiting on a colleague's input for a project,
Mm-hmm.
you might send a friendly reminder email
Okay.
or schedule a quick follow-up call.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's easy to feel like you're losing momentum
Totally.
when you're waiting on someone else.
Totally.
But this way you stay proactive and
Mhm.
keep things moving forward.
You're in the driver's seat.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the waiting for list
Mm-hmm.
helps with delegation
Yes.
and staying on top of things.
Keeps it all in front of you.
But you also highlighted a section
Okay.
about the threefold model for evaluating daily work.
Oh, yes.
I have to admit that one went over my head a bit.
This is a good one.
Okay.
This model resonated with me
Oh.
because it highlights how much of our day
Mm-hmm.
is spent reacting
Oh, yeah.
rather than being truly proactive.
Oh, interesting.
Allen breaks daily work into 3 categories.
Okay.
Predefined work.
Okay, predefined work.
Work as it shows up.
Uh-huh.
And defining your work.
Okay, so predefined work is all the stuff already scheduled,
Is
like
right.
meetings and planned tasks.
Right.
Work as it shows up is those unexpected requests or interruptions.
Yes, the things that derail you.
Right, that pop up throughout the day.
Exactly.
What about defining your work?
That's the behind-the-scenes work
Okay.
that often gets neglected.
Uh-huh, like what?
Planning,
Okay.
processing,
Uh-huh.
organizing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about taking the time
Okay.
to ensure your system is running smoothly
Okay.
and you're working on the right things.
I see how this relates to the horizontal and vertical control we discussed earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It all ties together.
It's that constant balancing act
It is.
between managing everything on our plate
Right.
and focusing on the deeper work
Mm-hmm.
that moves our goals forward.
Exactly.
Okay.
Allen's point is that
Yeah.
we need to find a balance between these 3 types of work.
Right.
If we spend all our time reacting to what shows up,
Yeah.
we'll never get to the important strategic work.
Right. We'll just be firefighting all the time.
Exactly. We'll be exhausted,
Yeah.
but we also need to be realistic about those unexpected demands.
Right. Because they're always going to happen.
They are.
Okay.
And build in flexibility.
Right.
Because you never know.
But a lot of people might feel overwhelmed
Oh, for sure.
by the idea of implementing all these tools and techniques.
It can feel like a lot.
What advice would you give someone
Yeah.
just starting with GTD?
I think the key is to start small
Okay.
and focus on building one habit at a time.
Okay. One habit at a time.
Maybe begin with capturing everything for a week,
Okay.
then move on to processing and organizing.
So build on each step.
Exactly.
Right.
It's about gradually incorporating these principles into your workflow
Sure.
rather than trying to overhaul everything overnight.
So it's about creating a system
Yes.
that works for you
Right.
and your unique needs and preferences.
You don't have to do it like anybody else.
Right. Find what works for you.
Absolutely.
And remember, it's an ongoing process.
Always evolving.
Life is constantly changing.
Always.
So your GTD will need to evolve as well.
It's a living system.
I like the living system.
Yeah.
Speaking of evolution, you underlined something Alan said about technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the tools. It's about the principles.
Oh, yeah.
How do you interpret that
Right.
in today's tech-driven world?
I think that's a crucial reminder.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up
Yeah.
in the latest productivity apps and gadgets.
Right. There's a new one every day.
I know.
Yeah.
But ultimately, those are just tools.
Right. They're just cool.
The real power lies in understanding and applying
Okay.
the core principles of GTD.
So it's not about finding the perfect app.
No.
It's about finding what works best for you
Exactly.
and using it to support your workflow.
Right. And sometimes the simplest solution is still the best.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to use a pen and paper. If that works better for you,
Yeah.
than a digital task manager.
It's all about finding what supports your clarity and focus.
Yes.
Rather than adding more distractions.
Which is so easy to do these days.
I'm looking at your notes,
Yeah.
and I see you flagged a section
Okay?
about mental energy.
Oh, yes.
What stood out to you there?
That section really resonated with me.
Okay.
Allen argues that one of the biggest benefits of GTD
Uh,
isn't just about getting things done.
okay.
It's about reclaiming mental energy.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
It is.
Okay.
When we're not constantly juggling to-dos and reminders in our heads,
Yeah.
we have more space for creative thinking,
Mm.
problem solving,
Mhm.
and simply enjoying life.
It's like that feeling of lightness
Yes.
when you finally clean out a cluttered closet.
I love that analogy.
It is.
Yeah.
You can breathe easier.
Yeah.
And everything just feels more manageable.
It does.
Yeah.
And that sense of mental clarity allows you to be more present,
Oh, okay.
more focused,
Mm.
and more effective in everything you do.
Okay, so we've talked about the 5 steps,
We have.
the planning model,
We did it.
the waiting for list,
Mhm.
and even incorporating technology.
The tools.
But I'm curious, you also highlighted a section
Yeah.
about Alan's concept of mind like water.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell me more about that?
This is one of the most poetic and
Okay.
powerful metaphors in the book.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Allen describes the ideal state of mind
Mm.
for productivity
Okay.
as being like water
Water. Okay.
calm,
Mm-hmm.
clear,
Mm-hmm.
and responsive.
Okay.
When our minds are cluttered, it's
Yeah.
like a stormy lake,
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
murky and agitated.
Oh.
But when we implement GTD,
Okay.
we calm those mental waters,
We calm it.
allowing us to see clearly and
Right.
respond effectively to whatever arises.
So it's not about becoming rigid or controlling.
No.
It's about being adaptable
Yes,
and flowing like water.
exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And when we reach that state of mind like water,
Mm.
we're able to access
Okay.
a deeper level of intuition
Ooh, interesting.
and make decisions
Yeah,
with more confidence and clarity.
I love that image.
Yeah.
It's about being present,
Mm-hmm.
responsive,
Mm-hmm.
and trusting in our own ability
Yeah,
to navigate whatever comes our way.
you got it.
Okay.
And that sense of trust is key.
Okay.
You actually underlined a quote from Alan.
Did I?
You did,
Oh.
about the relationship between productivity and trust.
Oh, yeah.
It really resonated with me as well.
I did. It's the one that says, you can do anything but not everything.
That's the one?
Yes.
So good.
I think it ties into this idea of trust,
It does.
right?
Yeah.
Trusting ourselves to make choices,
Mm-hmm.
set priorities, and let go of the things
Yeah,
that aren't serving us.
that's a powerful insight.
Yeah.
Alan argues that when we consistently honor our commitments,
Okay.
even the small ones,
Mm.
we build a sense of self-trust
Right.
that extends into all areas of our lives.
So it's about building that internal sense of reliability and dependability.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that self-trust spills over
Uh-huh.
into our interactions with others.
Okay.
We become more trustworthy in their eyes as well,
Makes sense.
strengthening relationships, both personally and professionally.
I see how that creates a positive feedback loop.
It does.
The more we trust ourselves,
Right.
the more likely we are to take on new challenges
Mm.
and push ourselves outside our comfort zones,
Yes,
further building that sense of confidence
Mhm.
and self-efficacy.
that's right.
It just builds on itself.
It becomes an upward spiral
I like that.
of growth and development.
But it's important to remember that we're all human
Oh, for sure.
and we all make mistakes.
We do?
Yeah. Alan emphasizes the importance of self-compassion
Okay.
and forgiving ourselves
Right.
when we inevitably slip up.
That's a crucial reminder.
It is.
It's easy to beat ourselves up
Oh, yeah.
when we don't meet our own expectations.
We're our own worst critics.
But it's important to remember
It is.
that those slip-ups are opportunities for learning and growth.
They are.
Not failures, but feedback.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And that self-compassion
Mm-hmm.
helps us to stay motivated
Right.
and on track with our goals.
Okay.
Instead of dwelling on mistakes,
Yeah.
we use them to refine our system
Okay.
and make better choices in the future.
Right. Turn them into something positive.
Exactly.
This is all so insightful.
Ooh,
I feel like we're starting to unpack not just the practical tools of GTD,
right.
but the deeper mindset and philosophy behind it.
It's a whole way of thinking.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Based on your notes,
Yeah.
you wrote, "This feels impossible." Oh, yeah.
Next to Alan's suggestion
Mm-hmm.
of capturing everything
Oh, yeah.
that has your attention.
That's a tall order.
Right.
It is.
How do we actually make that work in real life?
I think the key is to remember
Okay.
that you don't have to be perfect
Okay.
from the start.
Okay. That makes me feel better already.
Good.
Okay.
It's more about developing the habit
Okay.
of consistently capturing those
Right.
things that are pulling on your attention,
Yeah.
rather than trying to remember everything perfectly.
Right. So just get it out of your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there are lots of different tools and techniques
Uh-huh.
to make capturing easier.
Okay. Like what?
Some people prefer a physical notebook.
Okay. The old cool way?
Others use a digital note-taking app
Right.
or even voice recordings.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. The key is to find what works for you
Hmm.
and use it consistently.
What about those times when you're in the middle of something and a random thought pops into your head?
Oh, yeah, those pesky thoughts.
Do you stop everything and write it down?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You can designate specific times for capturing,
Oh.
like first thing in the morning
Okay.
or last thing at night,
All right.
or use the mind dump technique.
Ooh, a mind dump. What's that?
Just spend a few minutes writing down
Okay.
everything on your mind
Okay.
without censoring yourself.
Just let it flow.
Let it all out.
Okay. So really capture it all.
Get it all down.
It's like creating a safe space
Yes.
for all those random thoughts and ideas.
Exactly.
So they're not swirling around.
Right.
Causing distraction.
They can cause chaos
Precisely.
And once you've captured them,
Okay.
you can process and organize them later
Okay.
when you have more time.
So you don't have to stop your flow.
Exactly. It's like having a safety net.
Okay, a safe
But
bet.
you can always capture those thoughts
Mm-hmm.
without interrupting your workflow.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I see you also highlighted a section about triggers.
Triggers. Oh, yes.
Situations or environments
Mm-hmm.
where those random thoughts
Uh-huh.
are more likely to pop up.
Right.
Could you elaborate on that?
This is about being proactive
Okay.
and setting yourself up for success.
Okay, I like that.
Do you get your best ideas in the shower?
Ooh, sometimes.
Take a waterproof notepad handy.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
I like it.
Do brainstorming sessions leave you buzzing with new to-dos?
Yeah, sometimes.
Make sure you have your capture tool nearby.
So you can capture it in the moment.
Right then and there.
It's about understanding your own patterns
Exactly.
and creating systems
Yeah.
that support your natural flow.
Right. The more you practice capturing,
Mm-hmm.
the less you rely on your memory
Right.
and the more mental space you have for
It's
other
fun.
things.
It's like decluttering your mind,
It is.
making space for new ideas and inspiration to flow.
Exactly.
But, even with a clear mind
Mm-hmm.
and a trusted system, sometimes we hit those points
Oh, yeah.
where we're just not sure
Right.
what the next action is on a project,
Mm.
or we're feeling stuck.
Stuck. Yeah.
What does Alan suggest for those moments?
That's where his advice to shift your thinking up the planning scale comes in.
Shift your thinking up the planning scale.
Yes, it's about moving beyond
Okay.
the immediate next action and
yeah.
revisiting the bigger picture.
So instead of getting bogged down in the details,
Right.
we step back
Yes.
and look at the overall purpose,
Exactly.
the desired outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even revisit our brainstorming notes.
Exactly. It's about regaining clarity and momentum
Okay.
by reconnecting with the why behind the project.
Right. Going back to that why.
Exactly.
In your notes,
Mhm.
you also had a bunch of highlights and questions
Yeah.
around Alan's concept of a sacred space.
Oh, the sacred space.
Yes. Can you talk a bit about that?
This is a good one.
It seems like a bit of a departure
It
from
is.
lists and workflows.
It is. And I think that's why it resonated with you.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
It speaks to that deeper need for balance and well-being.
Right.
That underlies all of this productivity work.
Right. Like we're not machines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alan isn't just talking about a physical space,
Okay.
although it could be.
Uh.
It's more about creating a mental and emotional sanctuary
Ooh, I like that.
where we can connect with ourselves and recharge.
So it's like creating a space for reflection,
Yes.
stillness,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even a bit of soul searching.
Exactly. And Alan suggests practices like meditation,
Okay.
journaling, or spending time in nature
Okay.
to cultivate that sense of inner peace and clarity.
I see how that ties into his concept of mind like water.
It all connects.
It's about creating that calm, clear space within ourselves.
Right.
So we can be more present and effective in everything we do.
Exactly. It's all
Okay.
connected.
And, this idea of a sacred space also relates to something else you highlighted.
Yeah. What's that?
Work-life balance.
Ah, yes. The eternal struggle.
The eternal struggle.
Right.
I'm always looking for better ways to manage that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I think Alan's principles offer a powerful framework.
Okay.
It starts with capturing all our commitments,
Okay.
both personal and professional, so we can see the full picture.
So we know what we're dealing with.
Exactly.
Right.
Then we can consciously choose
Right.
how to spend our time and energy.
So it's about being intentional,
Yes.
setting boundaries,
Mhm.
and making sure we're making time
Right.
for the things that truly matter to us.
Yeah.
Not just the things that are shouting the loudest.
The squeaky wheel doesn't always get the grease.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It might mean setting limits on work hours,
It might.
scheduling time for self-care,
You need that.
or delegating tasks
Yes.
to free up space for personal pursuits.
Exactly.
It's about creating a life that nourishes us on all levels.
Yep.
Not just professionally,
Right.
but personally and emotionally as well.
It's about the whole person.
Right.
And that's where the concept of a weekly review comes in.
Ah, the weekly review.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not just about reviewing our tasks and projects.
Right.
It's about reviewing our life, our energy levels,
Yeah.
and ensuring we're staying true
Mhm.
to our values and goals.
So it's like a holistic check-in.
It is.
Okay, making sure our systems are supporting the life we want to create,
Yes.
not just the to-do list
Right.
we want to complete.
Exactly.
I love it.
And during that weekly review, we can also take a look at our someday maybe list.
Yes, the someday maybe list.
It's a fun one.
The list of dreams and aspirations we're not quite ready to tackle yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Why do you think Alan emphasizes that?
I think it's a reminder
Yeah.
that GTD isn't just about managing the day-to-day.
Okay.
It's about creating a life that's aligned with our passions and purpose.
Right, it's about the big picture.
Exactly. That someday maybe list keeps those dreams alive.
Okay.
And prevents us from getting so caught up in the present
Right.
that we forget about the bigger picture.
It's like having a vision board for our lives,
It is.
reminding us of what's possible and what we're working towards.
Exactly. And by regularly reviewing that list, we can spot ideas that we're now ready to take action on.
Right.
Gradually turning those someday maybes into realities.
And speaking of realities,
Yes.
in your notes, you circled the word values
Oh, values.
next to a section about aligning our actions with what matters most to us.
Ah.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about that?
That's a crucial part of GTD,
Okay.
and it goes beyond just checking things off a list.
Right. It's got to be meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about ensuring that the things we're doing are actually aligned.
With what we truly value and care about?
So it's not just about getting things done.
No.
It's about doing the right things.
Yes.
The things that bring us joy and make us feel fulfilled.
Exactly. And Alan suggests that we identify our values.
Okay, how do we do that?
By reflecting on those times in our lives
Okay.
when we've felt most alive and engaged.
Oh, that's a good one.
What were we doing?
Okay.
What values were being expressed?
It's like reverse engineering our happiest moments.
I love that.
Yeah.
It is
Oh,
to
yeah.
uncover the underlying principles that bring us joy.
We can also look to people we admire
Yes.
and identify the qualities we respect in them.
Mm-hmm.
Often, those qualities reflect our own values.
Right.
So it's about understanding what motivates us,
Yes.
what gives us energy,
Right.
and then using that knowledge to shape our choices and our actions.
Precisely. And once we have a clear sense of our values,
Okay.
we can start to make choices that are aligned with them.
Whether it's choosing a career path, pursuing a hobby,
Right.
or simply deciding how to spend our time each day.
It's about living a life
Yes.
that feels authentic and true to ourselves.
Right. And that's what allows us to be both productive and fulfilled.
Right. Finding that balance.
Exactly.
This has been such a rich conversation
It has.
about the deeper aspects of GTD.
It goes deep.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just a productivity system.
It is.
It's really a philosophy
Mhm.
for living a more intentional and fulfilling life.
I completely agree. And I think one of the things that makes it so powerful is that it's a holistic approach.
Okay.
It addresses not just the external aspects of getting things done.
Right, like the lists and
The systems and the tools.
the tools, right?
Yeah.
But also the internal aspects,
Right.
like our mindset,
Right.
our emotions,
Yes.
and our energy levels.
The whole picture
It's about recognizing that true productivity.
comes from a place of balance and well-being.
Exactly.
It all starts within.
It does.
You know, as we've been talking about GTD,
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking about that quote you mentioned earlier.
Which one?
You can do anything, but not everything.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
It seems so simple,
It is.
yet it speaks volumes about the choices we make
For sure.
and the limits we need to acknowledge.
Right. We can't do it all.
Right.
We're not superhuman.
That quote really gets to the heart
Mm-hmm.
of what GTD is all about.
I think so.
It's not about trying to do it all
No.
or be superhuman.
Nope.
It's about
It's about being realistic.
Right.
Making conscious choices.
making conscious choices.
Setting realistic priorities
Right.
and focusing on what truly matters.
And that requires a level of trust, doesn't it?
It does.
Trust in ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
trust in our systems,
Right.
and trust that by letting go of some things,
Yes.
we create space for the things that truly align
Right.
with our values and goals.
Absolutely. Alan talks about building a mind like water,
Mind like water.
being clear, calm, and responsive.
Right.
Like a still lake that reflects everything perfectly,
Okay.
but isn't disturbed by anything.
That's so peaceful.
Right.
Yeah.
That sense of inner peace and clarity
Mm-hmm.
allows us to make better decisions
Okay.
and navigate challenges
Right.
with more grace and ease.
It's a beautiful image.
It is.
And it ties into something else you highlighted.
Okay.
Alan's emphasis on aligning our actions with our values.
Yes, that's a crucial aspect of GTD.
It's not just about getting things done.
It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about doing the right things.
Doing the right thing.
The things that resonate
Yes.
with our deepest sense of purpose and bring us a sense of fulfillment.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
Yes.
Where our actions, our values, and our goals
all come together.
All intersect.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know, in your notes, I see you marked a section about the importance of intuition.
Intuition. Okay.
It seems like Ellen is suggesting that by clearing our minds and creating a trusted system, we can actually tap into a deeper level of wisdom and make more intuitive decisions.
That's what intrigued me about that section.
Yeah.
It's like saying that once we've decluttered our minds and created a space for clarity, we can access a kind of inner knowing.
Yes.
That can guide our choices.
I think that's a powerful insight.
Yeah.
It's not just about following a set of rules.
Right.
It's about trusting our gut instincts.
Okay.
And making choices that feel aligned with our authentic selves.
So it's about combining the practical tools of GTD with a sense of inner knowing.
Yeah.
And trusting that we're on the right path.
Exactly.
And that's what makes GTD so much more.
It is.
Than just a productivity system.
It's a way of life.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
It's a way of creating a life that's both effective and fulfilling.
I love that.
Speaking of journeys, in your notes, you circled the word celebration.
Celebration.
Next to a section about acknowledging our accomplishments.
Oh, yes. We need to celebrate.
Why do you think that's important?
I think it's easy to get so caught up in the pursuit of our goals that we forget to appreciate how far we've come.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taking the time to celebrate our wins, no matter how big or small, helps us to stay motivated.
Okay.
Boosts our confidence and reminds us that the journey itself is worth savoring.
It's like pausing to enjoy the scenery along the way.
Yes.
Instead of just focusing on the destination.
Exactly.
Okay.
And those celebrations can be anything that brings you joy.
Okay, like what?
A delicious meal.
Okay.
A relaxing bath.
A
phone call with a friend.
Okay.
Or even just a moment of quiet reflection to acknowledge your own efforts and progress.
It's about acknowledging our own hard work and giving ourselves permission to feel good about what we've accomplished.
Right. And those positive emotions then fuel our motivation and inspire us to keep moving forward.
So it's like a positive feedback loop.
It is. It creates a virtuous cycle of achievement and appreciation.
This has been such a rich and insightful exploration of getting things done.
Such a good book.
I feel like we've gone beyond the surface level.
We have.
And really uncovered the deeper principles and practices.
It's more than just lists.
Right.
Yeah.
That make this system so effective and enduring.
I agree. And, you know, as we wrap up, I'm struck by how much your notes and highlights reflect a desire for not just productivity, but for a sense of purpose and meaning in your work and life.
That's so true. It's not just about getting things done.
It's not.
It's about creating a life that feels aligned with my values and aspirations.
Yes.
And I think that's what resonates with so many people about GTD.
I think so, too.
It's a system that supports us in creating a life that's both productive and fulfilling.
And that's ultimately what it's all about, isn't it?
I think so.
It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about living a life that we love.
Yes.
A life that feels meaningful and true to ourselves.
This has been an incredible conversation.
It has.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights and expertise with me.
Of course, it's been my pleasure.
I feel inspired and equipped to take action and create a life that's both productive and fulfilling.
That's what I like to hear.
And until next time, happy organizing.
Happy organizing to you, too.